Welcome to the first section of the 411. Let's jump right in and watch Lauren explain to Destiny why we should share the gospel.
So there are 4 reasons why people don't share the gospel. The first one is they don't know why. The second is they don't know who they can share with. The third is that they don't know what to share. And the last one is they don't know when to share it. So let's break that down, starting with the first reason. Can you read 2 Corinthians 5, 17 through 21 for me?
We'll be looking at 2 Corinthians 5, 17 through 21 for the rest of the why portion of the 411. Write the verse reference at the top of your page just below where you wrote why.
Therefore, if anyone is in Christ, he is a new creature. The old things passed away, behold, new things have come. Now all these things are from God, who reconciled us to himself through Christ and gave us the ministry of reconciliation. Namely, that God was in Christ reconciling the world to himself, not counting their trespasses against them, and he has committed to us the word of reconciliation. Therefore we are ambassadors for Christ, as though God were making an appeal through us. We beg you on behalf of Christ, be reconciled to God. He made him who knew no sin to be sin on our behalf, so that we might become the righteousness of God.
Great. That was a really long passage, so let's break it down into like 3 sections, starting with verse 17. What does it say about us once we have put our trust in Jesus in verse 17?
Dig deeper into verse 17, asking about what it says about our identity in Christ. Draw a little stick figure on the left side of your page underneath where you wrote 2 Corinthians 5, 17 through 21 to represent the new creation.
Therefore, if anyone is in Christ, he is a new creature. The old things passed away, behold, new things have come.
Great. Awesome. So it says we're a new creature or creation, right? And so what that means is that God has given you a new identity. You're not the same person you were yesterday or the day before. That's pretty great. So moving on, can I have you read verse 21?
Watch the visual that Lauren draws to explain the exchange that verse 21 describes.
He made him who knew no sin to be sin on our behalf, so that we might become the righteousness of God in him.
Perfect. So when it says him, who do you think that him is?
Jesus?
Exactly. Yes. So Jesus, he took on our sin, and in exchange, he gave us his righteousness. And lastly, can I have you read verses 18 through 20?
Pay attention to the drawing to help illustrate what we, as ambassadors, are called to do now that this exchange has taken place.
Now all these things are from God, who reconciled us to himself through Christ and gave us the ministry of reconciliation. Namely, that God was in Christ reconciling the world to himself, not counting their trespasses against them, and he has committed to us the word of reconciliation. Therefore we are ambassadors for Christ, as though God were making an appeal through us. We beg you on behalf of Christ to be reconciled to God.
So it says that God has given us 2 things, right? A ministry and a message. It also says we are ambassadors. What do you think of when you think of the word ambassadors?
Like an ambassador to a foreign country?
Yeah, exactly. I like thinking of, like, imagine if you were an ambassador to China. You would be going to China to represent the President of the United States and tell them whatever he wants you to tell them, right? And so in the same way, God says we are ambassadors to the world to tell them the message that he has given us to tell them. So if I were to ask you, why should I share the gospel, do you think that you could share this back to me?
I think so. So there's this verse, Matthew 28, 18 through 20.
And now we know how to share the why portion of the 411. That's 1 part down and 3 to go. Make sure you watch the next video to see Michael share the second part of the 411, who we can share the gospel with.